From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story from Monday, May 13th, 2024. I almost said 1995 because May 13th, 1995 is a historic tornado outbreak here in Illinois where I live, so I've got that anniversary in my head. It is 2024. You're getting a second take from me. I just recorded a whole first take of this video and realized I had the microphone set to my headphones on the complete different side of the house. So a whole 9-minute video with total silence in it. Not going to be that good. Bad thing is my first take's always the best. Second take, always a little worse. So apologize. You're getting second take energy today. Your 10-day takeaways, we got shower and storm activity, persistent, disorganized this week. We're not talking about, one high impact storm system lifting into the area. We got daily chances for pockets of showers and storms, and there will likely be some pockets of heavier rainfall, 25 to 35, maybe 40 millimeters of precipitation over the next 7 days or so. This active pattern rolls on into the late part of May, showing you the week 2 precipitation forecast from the Canadian Prairie into the Corn Belt of the United States. Very active last week of May expected. Those temperatures fall slightly midweek into the weekend. Just going to be talking about a clouder, rainier pattern across the region, not necessarily any, shot of extreme Arctic air late in the season or anything like that. Now, as we look at the last 7 days of precipitation across the area, check it out. Across portions of eastern Alberta into southern Alberta, southwestern Saskatchewan, that deep blue, we're talking about 50, 65 millimeters of precipitation over the last just 7 days. And then you can still find a big widespread area where we're talking about 15 to 30 millimeters of precipitation. And then as we kind of zoom out, talk about the last 30 days, just about everyone with more than 150 to 200% of their percent of average of the last 30 days. That's a weird way of saying that. What I should really say is where you see blue, that's where we've doubled the expected precipitation over the last 30 days. That would be kind of mid-late April into the early part of May, but you got a lot of green and blue on there where we're talking about 100 to maybe 200%. That would be what we should expect to see, if not a little bit more. So a good rainy season, rainy late winter into the early part of spring. About the only dry part you can find it here is you make your way toward Peace River, Grand Prairie, a little bit drier there as well. We saw our first round of smoke make its way in as well. Some lingering fires from the last fire weather season across British Columbia, parts of northern Alberta. This is a satellite image from Saturday. We saw some of that smoke being pulled in by an aerial pressure across northern Ontario, kind of northern, we'll call it northern Manitoba, kind of northwestern Ontario, that aerial pressure right about there, and the flow coming in on the backside. So we took that smoke, brought it in across the prairie, and then over the last few days, we've seen it make its way further off to the south and to the east away from the region. Now let's talk about what's going on right now. Start off with the satellite as the sun comes up here on Monday morning. There's that departing area of low pressure across the Hudson Bay, far eastern portions of Ontario here Monday morning, and then no big classic comma shape depicting an organized high-impact storm system across Western Canada early this week, but you see lots of little pockets of cloudiness, and those are associated with pockets of showers and storms across the area. Again, without the big upper-level trough, we've still got pretty fast jet stream flow across the region, and it's riddled with what we call these little shortwave troughs, these little kind of minor disturbances within the overall flow, and those still bring in, there's some heavy precipitation falling in this little pocket here between Regina over toward Estevan. We can go ahead and animate this as well. You see those showers between Edmonton and Red Deer, a little bit heavy at times, and then Calgary down toward Lethbridge. You'll see that shower activity continue to ramp up through the rest of the day today into tonight as well. Temperatures across the region, warmer west, cooler east, 3 to 5 degrees in southern Manitoba. We're talking about 8, 9, maybe 10 degrees across much of Alberta and Saskatchewan. And then as we look at the next week of precipitation, this is what I'm talking about. We kind of take a pause in getting this kind of thing. This is where we'll see, a couple of organized storms following a more southerly trajectory, but we've still got systems kind of riding that northern branch through the region, bringing pockets of shower and thunderstorm activity. And then as we head into next week, the last week of May, we're going to go back into a pattern that's going to develop some troughing here. We'll see another pair of storm systems lifting into the region like we've seen over the last 2 weeks or so. Again, with that lifting trajectory, we get that big corridor of moisture wrapping around on the backside, heavier precipitation across the Canadian Prairie. So this is that busy pattern. It continues to roll on. I'll animate this a couple times, and then I'll just show you what we're talking about over the next 10 days or so. As we bring it back here, again, we're kind of between systems. You see two kind of more intense upper-level troughs, upper-level lows right there, and then just kind of some fast, wavy flow. You see these lines very tightly packed together across the Pacific through the Gulf of Alaska. They continue to be pretty close together as they race across Western Canada. That is just fast jet stream flow again, with little minor disturbances in it that are able to kick off clusters of shower and thunderstorm activity. And as I go back here, I did not mean to click off of this map just yet. We'll take it into next week, and there we start to see more in the way of these organized upper level lows developing across the region. This would set the stage then for that bigger high impact storm system as we get into the early part of next week. So over the next 3 days or so, pockets of showers and storms across the region. This takes us through Thursday, just kind of animating this. Pockets of showers and storms every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That amounts to something like this. You can find some corridors of heavier precipitation. I think the most likely area to get a nice soaking over the next 7 days is going to be along along the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border, parts of east central Saskatchewan, down into central and southern Manitoba. That's where you can expect anywhere from 20 to 25 to 35, maybe upwards of 40 millimeters of precipitation over the next 7 days. And then parts of western Alberta, Calgary, up toward Peace River, Grand Prairie, maybe talking about 20 to 30 millimeters as well. The lighter areas here, probably talking about 10 to 15 as you get closer toward the US and Canada border. Now, as we look at the next 7 to 10 days overall, kind of zoom out with the European model. Again, here is your Monday night. This is Tuesday. This is now Wednesday. This is now Thursday, May 16th. You're seeing these kind of just pockets of showers and storms before we get to the late part of the week and things start to ramp up. Heavier rain spreads across Alberta into Saskatchewan Thursday night into Friday, associated with a little bit more of a higher impact low that spins across the region into the weekend. That's going to be kicking off our cloudy, cooler, rainy weekend across much of the prairie. And then as we get into next week, Monday and Tuesday, we start to see more signs pointing towards organized, higher impact areas of low pressure lifting, if not into the prairie, through the Dakotas, just south of the international border, bringing in these heavier plumes of moisture. So over the next 7 days, your probability of picking up 1 inch or more of total rainfall, this again through Monday, May 20th, European ensemble on the left, GFS ensemble on the right. A bit of a different look here than the weeks past. As I've shown you this map, we've seen some really big areas of red with sharp gradients, really sharp cutoffs as we see just a big area of low pressure lift in and dump a lot of moisture on one particular area. This week, with that forecast being much more in the way of just a lot of little short waves making their way through, we get this wider area that's going to see the chance for showers and storms. Again, not a concentrated area picking up multiple inches. Instead, it's about the whole prairie with a pretty good chance of picking up half an inch, maybe an inch. Here I go again, bouncing between metric and imperial, but rolling on into the last week of May, we keep things going. This whole corridor from the Canadian prairie down through the Corn Belt, I know we are doing a dance here where it's good to not have widespread drought. It's also nice to plant a crop. So as we get later here across the Corn Belt, we're starting to feel that pinch, and I'm sure that you're starting to feel it in parts of the Canadian prairie here as we start to say, this rain is nice. We did ask for it. It's also nice to be able to get out and do some of these spring activities. But my message here is this active pattern continues through the end of May and probably into June as well. A lot of our longer range forecasts pointing towards a stormy June across the Canadian prairie. Those temperatures, again, we'll see a shot of cooler air associated with the building area of low pressure across the western portions of Western Canada is what I'm really trying to say. But that is Western Canada. That's down into the Northwest U.S. Broad area, just going to see a downtrend in those temperatures associated with more cloudy, cooler, rainy weather. So here you see it in Calgary, a high of 20 degrees for the next few days, down to 14 as we head into the weekend. Very similar look here in Edmonton, Saskatoon, Regina, and then I accidentally double posted Regina here. Winnipeg, we don't get to look at your temperatures here, but you get a little bit of a different look. It does something like this. We're starting off at those highs right around 5 degrees early this week. You'll get to climb up to around 15 midweek, back down to that 10 to 15 degree range as we head into the end of the week. I will talk to you again next Monday, May 20th, probably talking about one or more high impact storm systems lifting into the Canadian prairie.